Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 64 of the In From Japan podcast, the podcast where we talk about the latest news on Japan-developed games and other things in relation to them. Available on YouTube and in most places podcasts can be found. Before we get into the Japanese games we've been playing, we have a little bit of housekeeping. So one, make sure to check out our Monster Week content that we put out. We premiered In From Japan Arcade, where I played Monster Hunter Rise with a friend of the show, PandaFin. I got 100% trophies in War of the Monsters, and we also have the premiere of In From Japan Kaijuzu, where Foggy and I ramble about Godzilla vs. Kong for about an hour.
As you do. Just a quick tease.
Yeah, as you do.
For the folks who haven't listened yet to that episode, what did you think in as few words as possible?
Monkey.
Okay. Not as few.
What? You said it as few words.
Not as few as I thought, but sure.
And then our friends Chastity Vicencio and Jacob Decker are both leaving GameSpot. We haven't had them on this podcast yet, but maybe at some point. So go send them well wishes on their future endeavors, I guess.
You guess? I mean, it's
very sad to see them. Well, I mean, no, I was just phrasing it. I was more like the phrasing it. Like go do that, but I wasn't sure if I was phrasing it right. And we're excited to see where they go next. All right, so now getting to the Japanese games we've been playing. So I've been playing a bit more Monster Hunter Rise, and I'm at high rank now, which is only the Gathering Hub quest. It kind of ends. The story ends really abrupt, or the credits come up really abruptly. It's like, okay, you fought Magna Malo. Here are the credits. Okay, there's more to do. It's like, why did you? At that point, the credits should have just been a thing that you could go to from the start menu. Because I don't know, it just felt weird.
If I'm not mistaken, a lot of multiplayer focused games kind of have shorter campaigns now. To kind of get you rolling into the multiplayer aspect of it. I remember Destiny doing this.
Yeah, that's true.
Where the campaign was fairly short, and then credits hit. But I don't know. It could be that Monster Hunter is set to get some DLC support soon, so I don't think it's something to worry about.
It is. Yeah. I don't know if that's going to be necessarily single player or not. It could be, but who knows. And yeah, so high rank is only the Gathering Hub quest. It's kind of meant to be done with multiplayer, but you can do it by yourself. I have been, but it just takes a while because of how much health the monsters have.
A deliberate choice to do it on your own, or have?
I've just been doing it to do it. Like I'm at a rank that's like I'm still at the earliest rank in high rank. I just got to the rank 5 urgent quest, or the urgent quest that levels you up to rank 5. So I'm guessing I'll do more multiplayer more often once things get a little more difficult. And I don't know. I don't think I have any other thoughts on Monster Hunter Rise.
Are you still enjoying it? Okay.
Yep. The only thing that triple carded me was the Tigrex, and that was only once. I hunted it today, and that was single player quest. That was one of the last single player quests you can do. Also the amiibo. Okay, so I finally got all the amiibo because this GameStop exclusivity deal is not good because you don't get. So I ordered them at the same time, right? the Palico and the Palamute, and I figured, okay, so they'll both probably come in like the same package or something. They came separately on different days.
Okay. Well, it could be that they have.
Weird. I know, first world problems, but
no. But besides
it's GameStop.
that,
I don't like when.
It could be that they have different stocks for each individual character or figurine. So it could be that's.
Yeah, I think the Palamute might have sold out really fast because they said they had to restock it.
But at least you get.
But I have them all now.
At least you have access to it because GameStop's website is geo-restricted for me. Even with a VPN, I can't access it. So I'll probably never see those exclusive amiibos.
There are alternate
Sure,
ways.
but not the amiibos I want, at least.
Oh yeah. No, like if you wanted to getting the amiibos themselves, that might be a little tough. That's why I order them, because after I missed out on those original Monster Hunter Stories amiibo, I'm like, I'm not missing out on these ones again.
Okay.
Although the GameStop exclusivity, I don't think bodes well for the Monster Hunter Stories amiibos, but I don't know if there will be as many orders of them. We'll see. I've also been playing a little bit of Pac-Man 99 today. Because I decided to try it. I was like, why not? It's like a little more my speed than the Mario 35. I like it. I got to... What was the highest? Because, it's just Pac-Man Battle Royale, essentially. Like, all these different people are doing their own Pac-Man game. And then, like, when you eat the ghost, it can, like, when you eat like a row of ghosts, it like can send stuff to the other players. I'm not quite sure how everything works, but it's basically basically you just play Pac-Man, and it speeds up, or so it'll speed up depending on like if you get a power up or how many ghosts you eat, or so it's fun. Yeah, I got up to 34. I got to 34th place out of 99.
Do you see yourself playing any more of it, or is it like kind of an occasional pickup when you don't have much to do or not enough time?
I can see it as an occasional pickup, a quick pick up and play type of game. I just wanted to try it because I had never tried any games like that before. And like I said, Pac-Man's more my speed than original Super Mario.
Wait, you also didn't try Tetris 99? Huh.
No.
Interesting.
I just never tried. I think I meant to, and then I just never really did. How about some, give me some Bubble Bobble 99? Or,
I mean, so far the 99 series has been retro inspired, so it might be that you'll get your wish sooner or later.
Bubble Bobble, I don't know. I can see Galaga happening before that. I'm actually surprised with like how there was that Space Invaders collection that came out. I'm surprised they haven't done a thing yet. Although that could be coming. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yes, it looks like you've been up to
the usual. As always, Final Fantasy 14 has become a staple in my life. It's I'm busy with the patch quests, post Heaven's Award, if you will, chipping away at it. I'm at a point where I have to go into a duty, like a dungeon for 4-man parties, but I just haven't had enough time to really put into it. Played a bit more Monster Hunter Rise. I'm at like a village quest level 3, or is it like 3-star? Also like steadily chipping away at it, not really rushing my way through it, kind of settling into a groove, kind of figuring out which weapon fits my style more or less. I think I'm I'm settling between, for now, the sword and shield and the longsword, but it can change. Usually, if I see that my damage number goes up in the inventory screen, then I'll equip it and try it out.
Yeah.
Which led me to concluding that bow and arrow is not for me, because it's just bow. You have to be so close to your enemy, and I kind of don't get how that's the point of it.
I don't know if you can. I don't think my mic is picking it up, but there are some crows outside being kind of loud.
Okay, no, I don't hear it.
Just in case. Precautionary.
So the bow and arrow is kind of too close for comfort, if you will. And I'd rather stick with a weapon that deals a lot more damage that way. And I've also started Tales of Berseria. Finally, I'm only about 10 hours in.
And you said it was bad. How dare you?
No, I said Zestiria was bad. Berseria.
No, what did you say? I thought you said something on. Oh yeah, it was Zestiria. Yeah. You're right.
No, Zestiria is the game I dislike with a passion. Berseria is a game I'm kind of ambivalent towards. It's not as aggressively boring as Zestiria, but it's really slow paced. I'm as I said, 10 hours in, and nothing really noteworthy has happened. But at least the characterization and the plot is a lot more consistent than Zestiria, which went kind of all over the place and never really settled into a groove. And you kind of never felt that the characters grew into their personas, if you will. But Berseria is at least an interesting cast of characters, and they're more anti-heroes than typical heroes. But
that's why.
I'll see where the story takes me. Kind of trying to hype myself up on the road to Tales of Arise. So I think I'll dip in every now and then when it comes to Berseria.
Yeah. That reminds me, our friend Jacob Decker reviewed Tales of Berseria for GameSpot back in 2017. I believe.
He also reviewed Zestiria, if I'm not mistaken.
All right. So, moving on to the In From Japan J-List, where we talk about recent video game-related entertainment news. We got a ton of Kamen Rider news. I don't know. I think it was announced before Shin Kamen Rider was announced. I think I said that on last week's podcast.
I think so.
Which is going to be the Hideki Anno Kamen Rider movie in the vein of Shin Godzilla and Shin Ultraman. Even though there's already a movie called Shin Kamen Rider from like '89 that's available on the Toei Tokusatsu World channel if you're interested. I did not like that movie. So maybe that one will be better.
Real quick.
But we're getting also a common.
Did you see Shin Godzilla?
I have not yet. It's on my list.
It's something I highly recommend. If anyone has been disappointed by the recent MonsterVerse movies, or if you kind of want something a bit more thought-provoking, if you will, than Godzilla versus Kong or any of the Godzilla Western releases of late. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
How dare you?
I stand by it.
Anyway, Kamen Rider anime Futo PI announced for 50th anniversary coming to Funimation in 2022. This is by Nicholas Friedman for Funimation. That's kind of weird. Funimation blog.
I mean, Crunchyroll also has a
celebration of 50th anniversary. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. In celebration of the 50th anniversary of the legendary Kamen Rider series, Toei has announced the production of Futo PI, a Kamen Rider anime series that we're excited to announce will stream on Funimation upon its release. The news was revealed during a special Kamen Rider event highlighting 50 years of the iconic franchise. A historic show for Japanese culture, Kamen Rider still airs every Sunday. It first debuted on April 3rd, 1971. The Though the series has seen previous anime adaptations in the form of shorts or OVAs, Futo-Pi will be the first full anime series based on the live-action Kamen Rider program. Futo-Pi first debuted as a manga series in August 2017. The anime is planned for release in summer 2022. The story is canonically set after the events of Kamen Rider Double, the 11th of the Heisei era, which aired in 2009. It follows private investigator Shotaro Hidari and the mysterious boy Philip, two strangers who become one Kamen Rider. So, the first episode of Kamen Rider Double is also available on the Toei Tokusatsu World channel. I did watch it. It is very interesting, especially as somebody who was playing that Kamen Rider game, and Kamen Rider Double is kind of like one of the main characters of that game. So it was cool being already kind of familiar.
That's cool.
Especially because they did a couple of the form changes in the first episode. I was like, oh, that's the thing I did in the game.
Okay.
Then we have more Kamen Rider stuff. Reboot of classic franchise Kamen Rider Black Sun. This is from KamenRiderOfficial.com. Master filmmaker Kazuya Shiraishi to direct new interpretation of Masked Rider Black Saga. To commemorate the 50th anniversary of the legendary Kamen Rider franchise, master filmmaker Kazuya Shiraishi has been named to direct Kamen Rider Black Sun, a new series based on the monumental Kamen Rider Black, scheduled to launch in spring 2022. So, Kamen Rider Black, the original, has a sequel called Kamen Rider Black RX, which was adapted into the short-lived Masked Rider series that America got.
Alright, interesting.
That was terrible. It had Fergus. Or was it Furbus?
I wouldn't know.
Wait, hold on. I need to send this to you.
Okay.
Because it's
I watched Masked Rider when I was younger. Yeah.
You did?
While I was on vacation in the Netherlands. It was on the local Fox Kids.
Well, it must have been weird if you saw this.
Let's see what you just sent me. I do not remember that.
Yeah, that's the thing they asked.
Probably.
For it. Also, Kamen Rider was an alien. Kamen Rider was an alien in that.
I don't really remember a lot of it. It was like when I was 6 or 7.
Also, another fun fact, because Digimon is owned by, or was owned, is? The rights for Digimon in the U.S. were owned by Saban. So, but if you go back to those Masked Rider episodes and some early Power Rangers episodes, they used the same orchestral scores. Some of the same.
Interesting.
And I was like, wait a minute. Also, oh, by the way, the first episode of Kamen Rider Black also on Toei Tokusatsu World YouTube channel. And then we have the last piece of Kamen Rider news for today. For this podcast. Kamen Rider 01 and Ryuki heading westward. This is by Jenny Latta for Siliconera. Lots of Kamen Rider project announcements appeared as part of the 50th anniversary celebration. Among them were reveals regarding localizations. Shout Factory picked up both Kamen Rider 01 and Kamen Rider Ryuki. While both will be coming soon via streaming services, the former will get a physical release. Kamen Rider Ryuki is the older of the two series. It aired in Japan in 2002. It follows the events of the Rider War and the actions of Kamen Rider Ryuki and Kamen Rider Knight as both participate in the Mirror World events for their own reasons. Only one rider can win and become the Kamen Rider. An adaptation called Kamen Rider Dragon Knight, which was the first Kamen Rider thing I ever saw, showed up in the West. Which is a much more, still not great, but it's a much more faithful adaptation than Masked Rider was. Kamen Rider 01 is more recent, as its run began in Japan in September 2019. People follow Kamen Rider 01 steps in to try to stop terrorist attacks against humans by metsubojinrai.net. It's set in a world where androids with advanced AI, called Humagears, are an important part of daily life, and are being used by MetsuboJirai.net as part of its attacks. Yeah, I just watched the movie that they had up. They had those movies up for like 24 hours each. So the first one with the 7 Kamen Riders, it was originally a TV special. So it was mostly just going over highlights of each series, and then at the end all the Kamen Riders team up to fight a bad guy. And then with the Reiwa movie, it has Kamen Rider 01 and Kamen Rider ZO, one of the Kamen Riders who travels through time and goes to different timelines, fighting against the Humagears in an alternate timeline where the Humagears have taken over. And then like it's almost like it's one of those robot takeover. It's like Kamen Rider Terminator or something almost.
That's
it's
bound to be a very dark and violent take. I take it.
Really? No, I mean a little violent. I didn't expect like an actual gun to show up, but I wouldn't say it was very dark. Maybe a little more than I expected, but not really that much. It's still Kamen Rider, you know. It's not Kamen Rider Amazons, the actual adult Kamen Rider series, which is still on Amazon Prime. So somebody might have misreported that it was.
Let me check if it's still on my Prime.
When I checked a couple of days ago, it was still on mine, and originally the article I saw said March 31st.
Amazon Riders season 1 and 2 are still on my Prime.
Yeah. And then the last piece of news, J-List news: Tiger and Bunny season 2 coming in 2022. This is by Oni and Dino for Oni Dino. Why did I say Ant? Oni Dino for Siliconera. BN Pictures announced a plethora of new information on the Tiger and Bunny series, including season 2 of the anime. The company commemorated the show's 10th anniversary with a new logo and plans to release the first season on YouTube. BN Pictures also created a new website for the show's 10th anniversary and revealed the main character designs for season 2. New logo website. Oh, yeah, all 25 episodes of the TV series Tiger and Bunny, the first season, will be available for free. One episode will release per week, and there will be a brief interview with Wild Tiger's and Bunny's voice actors at the end of each episode. And then there's a look at the season 2 designs. Have you ever watched Tiger and Bunny?
I don't know if I watched Tiger and Bunny or Samurai Flamenco, because they were very similarly marketed back in the day.
It's kind of the one where the superheroes have the sponsors, all the logos on there.
It just dropped.
Although that was scrubbed for the.
It was just dropped on Netflix, I think, last week or 2 weeks ago. So,
not just dropped. It was in the database because that's how I watched it originally. So it came back to Netflix.
So I might watch it after I'm done with Netflix Ultraman series.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I'll have to rewatch it. I almost saw it in a way. I almost saw it almost like a prequel to My Hero Academia, even though that doesn't make sense. It was just like, or at least a predecessor.
I mean, it kind of makes sense
in a way. I don't know how else to explain.
I get what you mean.
Yeah. All right. So moving on to recommended content, we have Talking Point. Nintendo and the industry need to get serious about game preservation by Thomas Whitehead for Nintendo Life. Revealed the 138 PlayStation games that won't be available anywhere after store closures by Chris Scullion for Video Games Chronicle. Interview: Chris Dale's Kira Buckland talks about voice acting challenges by Joel Couture, Siliconera. Look, now Chris Dale is not a Japan-developed game, but Kira Buckland is a very prominent voice actor who's in a lot of games.
So you're bending the rules a bit.
So I thought.
Okay.
Yes. Just a little. And then this is an old one, but an interesting food for thought. Capcom tries again with Monster Hunter Stories 2, but why? By Ishaan Sahdev for Gamesindustry.biz. Or Gamesindustry.biz. So now it is time for the news rundown. So I'll let the bearer of bad news, our Shinigami, take it away.
Okay, Bankai. First up, we have Inazuma 11.
Well, the only story.
Come again?
The first up, the only story in the section.
Like the first news story, the first real news story.
True. You're right.
Inazuma 11 Great Road of Heroes may be released in 2023. This is by Kite Stembuck for Siliconera. Level 5 published a new video offering a development update on Inazuma 11 Great Road of Heroes. CEO Akihiro Hino, apologized to Inazuma 11 fans for the very long wait for the game's release. Hino said that the development team is working to get the game released in 2023, although he also instructed people to wait for an official press release for the actual release window. In the same video, Hino also showed footage from the latest Switch build where the player-controlled characters moved around various locations while being followed by party members. He added that Great Road of Heroes will be a compilation of the Inazuma 11 series, but not the final title in the franchise. In September 2020, Akihiro Hino posted a message stated Level 5 is prioritizing the development of Yokai Academy Y over the new Inazuma 11 game. The former released on the Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 4 in 2020 in Japan, and it also received multiple post-release content updates. The company is also currently working on a Megaton Musashi, a mecha action RPG. Its latest trailer published at Jump Festa 2021 held in December 2020. Okay. Inazuma 11 Great Road of Heroes.
It never gets any
It's currently
easier.
in development for the Switch, PS4, Android, and iOS devices.
Well, there was a whole weird thing about that because they hadn't said any updates on that, and then there was a separate mobile game that shut down a couple months ago, and it just gets all confused. The management at Level 5 is all over the place.
Wait, what is confusing to you?
No, it just gets confusing about like what game is which and because they had like a mobile game come out and people thought like, and then like they said the mobile game was going to be a separate thing and they thought it was that, but then they say, oh no, this is still going to have a mobile version, and then they're working on all those other games like
it could also be a mistranslation when it was first reported, because this game, which is a compilation of previous titles, is set to appear on most mainstream consoles and platforms.
Oh no, Great Road of Heroes is its own game.
That's what I meant.
A compilation. Oh, you mean
the game
like
itself, as stated.
It's not a collection. Yeah, it's not a collection. I wish.
No, it says he added that Great Road of Heroes will be a compilation of the Inazuma 11 series. So the game.
No, but it's not a. What I'm saying is, it's not. Because I've covered this game for a while. Like, it's not several games in one, like a collection. It's more like taking it's more like a Monster Hunter Generations type thing.
I mean, it's
like taking a lot of things.
I didn't say it was a collection. I'm reading from the copy here. It says.
No, oh, okay. I just got confused when you said compilation.
Yeah, I mean,
sorry, that's my bad.
That's what.
I just wanted to clear that up.
The copy says it's a compilation of the Inazuma 11 series. So, as you said, it will be kind of like the greatest hits mixed into one title, and not a collection.
Yeah, at least it should be now. There was a collection, I believe, for 3DS, but we only got the only Inazuma 11 game we ever got in the US was the 3DS remake of the first game.
Yeah.
Which is a DS game. And Europe got a couple more.
Yeah, I mean, football/soccer is way more popular in Europe than it is in the US.
Which is not fair. Give me more anime soccer games.
Talk to your people in the US, man. I can't help you over there.
I've tried, okay? I have friends who really like soccer, and then I show them the Captain Tsubasa game, and they're like, "Oh, well, this is cool, but it's not. It doesn't play that well." And I'm like, "You guys complain about FIFA all the time."
I mean, FIFA gets its fair share of criticism. because it's so annualized and stretched out as a franchise.
I want to try the other one.
Pro Evolution?
PES.
Mechanically speaking, I prefer Pro Evolution over FIFA.
I've only played one FIFA, and that was all the way
the
back
World Cup one. Mm-hmm.
That was the 2010. The 2010 World Cup one. So
I mean,
if only they could port older.
I mean, the current FIFA games are pretty solid still.
I mean, I'm not even that into soccer, you know. It's the World Cup, and then anime soccer, Shaolin soccer, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Mario Strikers. Give me a new Mario Strikers. Maybe one day.
Fingers crossed. They're not really willing to kind of.
I know, because they don't want to make Mario.
It's not really about Mario being aggressive. It's more about how Mario is portrayed outside of how the brand is now currently being established.
Well, whatever. I'm getting the golf game,
okay.
So it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, speaking of golf, this has nothing to do with it. Taiko no Tatsujin Pop Tap Beat now available for Apple Arcade. A new Taiko no Tatsujin game appears. This is by Saruman for Gamatsu. Bandai Namco has announced and released traditional Japanese drumming rhythm game Taiko no Tatsujin Pop Tap Beat for Apple Arcade, Mac, iOS, and tvOS. Oh, so I can't get it.
I mean, you could get a cheap iPad.
About sync to the rhythm and drum away to those notes. The traditional Japanese drumming rhythm game Taiko no Tatsujin comes to Apple Arcade. For difficulty levels, I don't know what the songs are in it. I know one of the One Piece. Oh yeah, it has apparently Cruel Angel's Thesis and the My Little Pony Friendship is Magic.
I mean, you gotta have those two.
According to the comments here. The My Little Pony thing is probably new. Cruel Angel's Thesis has definitely been in Taiko games before. And then I know We Are from One Piece is on it, which is also on the Switch game that I have.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, Demon Souls Gorenji is also one of the songs in that. Yeah. Demon Slayer, sorry.
Yeah, that's on the Switch one. I mean, it's Bandai Namco, so I wouldn't be that surprised.
Yeah.
Wait, let me see. I'm trying to find the song with... Oh, Oete Hero from Captain Tsubasa. It only showed... well, I can't find a song list, but people are playing it. I know, I saw our friend of the show, Lucas White, was playing it.
Yeah, I've seen a few people mention it on my timeline, so...
Too bad I don't have access to Apple Arcade.
I mean, you could get a cheap iPad or iPod Touch or
I could just play the Switch version with my actual Taiko drum controller, which has a lot of the same songs.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we're getting more Taiko, even if it's an Apple Arcade game. Like, give me more Taiko.
Okay.
That's
cool,
all I had to say about that.
Because I was wondering. Next up, we have Neo, The World Ends With You, and the game is set 3 years after The World Ends With You, the animation. This is by Sal Romano for Gamatsu. Neo, The World Ends With You is a sequel to The World Ends With You, the animation, which is set 3 years later. Director Tatsuya Kando said during a brief appearance on It's a Wonderful Special. Okay. The World Ends With You, the animation pre-air special today. Today being April 2nd. While further details were not shared during the program, producer Tetsuya Nomura tweeted earlier today, which is also April 2nd, that more information will arrive.
So a couple of days ago, as of recording
will arrive on April 9th at 1500 JST, which is Japan Standard Time, a few hours before the first episode of the anime airs. Neo The World Ends With You is due out for PS4 and Switch this summer. Okay.
Yeah, I'm still excited for this game, but it's interesting that you have to. I thought the animation was just going to be, just an animated version of the first game, but I guess it's going to be a little more than that, since they're specifically saying it's set 3 years after the animation.
I think you can still read it as the sequel game is set 3 years after the previous game. I don't think if there's anything wrong with.
It's just. I just think it's interesting that they highlighted the animation. They didn't say the animation and game.
It could be because the animation is something they want to promote.
And it's more recent. Yeah.
Okay. Next up is Platinum Games. Wait. There's a redirection note. That's weird. Google does not want me to see a page. What are you hiding, Google? No, I have it. Platinum Games World of Demons debuts on Apple Arcade. This is by Jenny Latta for Siliconera.
That would be a crazy theme park. Platinum World.
Maybe one day. It's been quite some time since Platinum Games talked about World of Demons, but now it's broken its silence by releasing it on Apple Arcade. People who subscribe to the service can immediately begin playing the action game. In World of Demons, players follow a samurai attempting to save the world from yokai. Throughout its development, Platinum Games showed off its distinctive ukiyo-e style design. It can be played with or without a controller. If you check out the trailer for this game, you might see a style and gameplay that is reminiscent of, not Platinum Games per se, but Clover Studios' Okami, which is also published by Capcom. Which leads me to believe that this is kind of a reskin of Okami, or maybe a game set in that world, maybe. So if you have Apple Arcade, get on it. Get on Tatsu. What's the game at Tatsu? The drumming game. Tatsu no Tatsujin? Taiko no Tatsujin, yeah. That and Hironobu Sakaguchi's Fantasian. So, yeah.
I just hope these games come to other are able to come to other platforms.
Well, so far, a lot of these Apple Arcade quote-unquote exclusives have made their way onto Switch. So there is precedent. If it happens, is another story, but we'll see.
Yeah, it depends on their deals and such. Okay. Monster Hunter Rise is third best retail launch for Nintendo Switch. This is by Kazuma Hashimoto for Siliconera. Monster Hunter Rise has become the third best retail launch for Nintendo Switch title within Japan. This officially puts Monster Hunter Rise behind both Animal Crossing New Horizons and Pokemon Sword and Shield. Within its first week of release, Monster Hunter Rise has already sold 1.3 million copies within its domestic market. Additionally, Monster Hunter Rise is the best-selling title within the month of March within Japan. Outside of being the third best retail launch for the Nintendo Switch, second place was Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, which only sold roughly 169,899 copies in comparison to Monster Hunter Rise's 1.3 million copies. As it stands, Monster Hunter Rise seems to be a certified hit, with global sales hit almost breaking even with Monster Hunter World during its initial global release. During the first 3 days of its release, the title has shipped over 4 million units worldwide. Additionally, Monster Hunter Rise has officially sold over 5 million copies worldwide on the Nintendo Switch alone. A PC port of the game was announced and is scheduled to release in early 2022. And so, more news for that. Latest Monster Hunter Rise patch fixes related pose bug. This is also by Kazuma Hashimoto for Siliconera. A new Monster Hunter Rise patch is now available to download, which will fix the pose-related bug that had prevented players from accessing their save data. Additionally, several other bug fixes are included in this patch. This includes various gesture-based bugs and even bugs related to controls becoming unresponsive when performing certain actions. The patch will also fix other issues in Monster Hunter Rise concerning other pose or gesture-related bugs. The previously mentioned bug that causes player controls to stop responding when sitting while performing the call Kahoot gesture has been fixed. Additionally, issues with the user interface no longer appearing when changing the minimum hunter rank for online lobbies has been patched. So good. No more pose glitches.
Did you have any issues with bugs? I only had one where I wake up the Switch into Monster Hunter Rise and the game freezes a bit. But that's it.
Well, hopefully that patch fixes it. Next story. Clap Hands Golf appears from Everybody's Golf developer. This is by Jenny Lotta for Siliconera. Clap Hands, the company behind PlayStation system staples like Everybody's Golf and Hot Shots Golf, has its own original game on Apple Arcade called Clap Hands Golf. As you might imagine, it's a similar sort of experience. It is immediately available for subscribers and can be played with or without a controller. Clap Hands Golf is both a single and multiplayer affair. You can go through a score attack, survival, and tour modes alone. It's golf, as usual, with the ability to play via touch or with a controller. One of the hooks here is that you can have a team where your 18-hole game has a different golfer on each hole. There are also different multiplayer options. You can play without going online with local multiplayer. However, there is also an online option available, and there's a trailer. One of the many games to appear on Apple Arcade on April 2nd, 2021. There's Fantasian, World of Demons, and Taiko.
Yeah, so Apple Arcade has a solid list of titles now.
It's almost like... Well, it's not like that. It's almost like it's what Stadia wants.
Yeah. Although Apple Arcade never pretended to be anything else than it is. So, next up is Square Enix renews Front Mission trademark in multiple regions. This is by Kite Stenbock for Siliconera. Square Enix is registering a new Front Mission trademark in multiple regions across the globe. The Japanese trademark registration, which just publicly appeared on the Chizai Watch database on April 6, 2021, indicated that the company filed the trademark on March 19, 2021. Shout out to GameSpark and Renka. In reply to Renka's tweet, Gematsu added that Square Enix also registered the same trademark in the US, Canada, Europe, and Australia throughout March 2021. Although the European and Australian trademarks are only classified as Category 28, which comprise toy-scaled models and physical games. The Japanese and North American registrations added Category 41 that also included provisions related to video games. The last time we heard of Front Mission related trademark registration was in 2009. That year, Square Enix registered Front Mission Evolve, which became a third-person mech shooter game released for PS3, 360, and PC in 2010. The company would also later release Left Alive, a survival action game taking place in the Front Mission universe for PS4 and PC in 2019. So yeah, worth noting, Front Mission 3, which is a PlayStation Classic, available on PSN for now, will soon be lost to history unless you buy it and claim it, if you so choose. Yeah, so a trademark renewal doesn't mean a new game is on its way. It just means that they're holding on to the IP rights for whatever use they deem worthy of their time.
Yeah. It's interesting. I wonder what's going to happen with it.
I mean...
Next story.
No, I was going to say, after Left Alive, I figured they wouldn't really care. They were really done caring about the franchise, so I guess I was proven wrong.
Koei Tecmo unveils new Nobunaga's Ambition game for 2021 release. New game is titled Nobunaga no Yabo Shinsei. This is by Rafael Antonio Pineda for Anime News Network. Koei Tecmo Games announced on March 28th that it is developing a new game in its Nobunaga's Ambition grand strategy game series titled Nobunaga no Yabo Shinsei, Nobunaga's Ambition Rebirth. The game is slated for a 2021 release. The latest game in the series is Nobunaga's Ambition Taishi, which shipped for the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and PC in Japan in November 2017. Koei Tecmo Games released the game in the West for PS4 and PC via Steam in June 2018. Sure, but when are we going to get Pokemon Conquest 2? That's Nobunaga's ambition, right?
If I had to guess, it's probably somewhere between 2025 and 2030.
You think they're actually going to make
why not?
A second Pokemon
I mean,
Conquest?
they made a new mystery dungeon recently, so...
Well, that was
but it's still a new... Yeah.
I guess they could remake it for Switch. Yeah. Was that Koei? Yeah, it was Koei Tecmo. Okay. It was Nobunaga's ambition. Yeah, I always heard good things about that game. It's just such an interesting concept. Just that crossover. Next story. Castlevania Dreamcast prototype discovered. The long-lost Castlevania game reemerges 20 years later. This is by Imran Khan for Fanbyte. Castlevania has a long history of sudden reinvention. The series went from a linear platformer to making up one half of an entire genre name in Metroidvania. It also, at the same time, went 3D to far less fanfare. Throughout the N64 and PS2 generations, Konami tried to do more of the 3D stuff than the Metroidvania stuff, which sandwiched the long-lost Castlevania Resurrection for the Dreamcast. A video of the game was put up over the weekend, brought to light by a Dreamcast preservationist group that wanted to show the prototype in action. The prototype disc is from a build before the Resurrection's first and only behind closed doors E3 showing in 1999. The game was apparently battling internal drama within Konami as the first American-made Castlevania game, with art director Greg Ordian claiming in 2007 that people in the company were leaking false concerns to the press to poison the well. Presumably also the death of the Dreamcast contributed to the game's cancellation. The game stars Sonia Belmont, who was at that point the first Belmont to canonically defeat Dracula before Castlevania Lament of Innocence changed that. In those days, series producer Koji Igarashi bafflingly questioned the validity of a woman defeating Dracula in the Middle Ages, despite making the protagonist of several of his next few games woman. Sonya still got her GBC game, Castlevania Legends, before Resurrections folded, though. Resurrection would have also added Victor Belmont, a Belmont clan member who looked just an absolute gobsmacking amount like Tim Curry.
I mean, as you do.
Somebody make this... Yeah. I want Castlevania with Tim Curry.
Well, I mean, he is retired now, I think, so that's not going to happen.
Igarashi? Tim Curry. Yeah, Tim Curry
Igarashi is more or less retired.
He does Bloodstained, which is just
but kind of on and off, not really. Okay, next up.
Sure. Do we really need the one after this?
No, it's we already
talked about it. Yeah, we can take that one out.
Next up is sales figures suggest that Balan Wonderworld reportedly sold roughly 2,000 physical copies in Japan. That's a 2 with 3 zeros behind it, in case you were confused. This is by Chris Carter for Destructoid.
What a number.
The hits for Balan Wonderworld keep coming. Following a poor critical reception, the Square Enix published mascot platformer allegedly has only sold roughly 2,000 copies in Japan. Evidently, the game did not even chart with any SKUs, missing the top 30 at retail. Though we don't have the digital sales figures from Square Enix, it's increasingly likely that they will ignore that this game exists eventually. Following through, I checked the eShop to see if the game was ranked in North America, and it's still not in the top 30. Nintendo Life reports that the game did not crack the top 40 UK charts on any platform as well. Low-end word of mouth also tracks with the Steam listing, which still only has 68 total reviews, an extremely low turnout for a game from a major publisher. What else is there to say about Yuji Naka's Balan Wonderworld? I feel like Square sent this game off to die. It was like financially more feasible to put it out and make some money off of the return than having lost money on the investment. But still, it's Square.
Did you see the music thing?
No,
too?
I did not.
So there's a fire engine level or like something about a firefighter in Balan Wonderworld, and the music in it is very reminiscent of the orchestral theme in the first Ghostbusters movie.
Oh, right. I saw it pass by my timeline.
It seems like it was supposed to be an homage, but it was way too on the nose. And I'm not talking about for the audience, I'm not talking about like the Ghostbusters, the Ghostbusters theme that we all know. I'm talking about like the orchestral theme from the movie, which is different. Sounds almost just like it.
Happens, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, it reminds me of when that one Bomberman Jenner anime has music that's basically the Seinfeld theme.
Well, after Left Alive and The Quiet Man, I guess this shouldn't surprise me that Square Enix will put out a game to die in the middle of the street. But
not Yuji Naka. Was it Yuji Naka who said like, okay, if this one doesn't do well, I'm
done? I don't know if he said it jokingly, or if Square Enix is holding his career hostage, but yeah.
I've seen a couple people who do unironically enjoy this game.
I want to have serious talks with those people.
I believe Bella Blondeau.
We should get her on the podcast.
Is a really big fan of it.
Oh well.
Maybe.
Next up is Jump Force DLC character Giorno Giovanna launches on April 13th. This is the final character of Character Pass 2. This is by Sal Romano for Jump Force. No, not Sal Romano for Jump Force. Sal Romano for Gamatsu.
Sal Romano for Jump Force. Well, what a twist.
I mean, he does a lot on Japanese games, so...
Hashtag Sal Romano for Jump Force.
Put him in Character Pass 3. But a quick aside, I think there is a Character Pass 3 in the works. I have nothing to base this on.
People are still playing this game.
But there are characters missing from the base game and the first two Character Passes, like Itadori.
Put in Joey Wheeler.
Itadori from Jujutsu Kaisen. The characters from Kimetsu no Yaiba, like Jigokuraku, Chainsaw Man. There are a lot of, newer Jump characters that aren't present, unless
Kafka from Kaiju number 8. Well, he doesn't have that. He doesn't even have an anime.
They're willing to make a second Jump Force, which by the sales, I don't know. It's possible.
Well,
okay.
We'll see. They're still making DLC for it.
So. Jump Force downloadable content character Giorno Giovanna from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure will launch on April 13th for $3.99 individually and as part of the $17.99 Character Pass 2. Publisher Bandai Namco and developer Spike Chunsoft announced. Users who own the Character Pass 2 will gain early access on April 9th. You can get the game on sale now on the eShop, Steam, and PSN. If it's worth it is up to you. I can't make that judgment call. Although I thought it was kind of shallow and repetitive, but if all you want is an easy thing to get into with characters you love, then this might be for you. So yeah.
Also, this wasn't your fault. You were reading the copy, but he is specifically from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 5, Golden Wind.
Yes.
That is all. Also, that new Part 6 of the JoJo anime, Stone Ocean, finally got announced. That was the big anime news that I was forgetting. Okay, anyway. Edge of Eternity launches June 8th for PC in Q4 2021 for PS5, Xbox Series, PS4, and Xbox One. Japanese-inspired RPG, currently in early access. This is once again by Saruman for Gamatsu. Edge of Eternity will exit early access and launch for PC via Steam on June 8th with a massive update that adds 20 hours of additional gameplay and brings the game's story to an end. Publisher Dear Villagers and developer Midgar Studio announced. PS5, Xbox Series, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One versions will follow in Q4 2021, as well as Xbox Game Pass. PS5 and Xbox Series versions are newly announced. Distributor GS2 Games previously announced plans to release a physical edition for PS4 alongside the game's console launch. At this point, it is unknown if it will do the same for the newly announced PS5 version. And there's an update. They confirmed that there will be a PS5 physical edition. To celebrate the PC release date announcement, the early access version will be available at a 33% off discount price of $16.74 via Steam until April 13th. This is Dear Villagers Vice President of Publishing, Guillaume Jamay, added, Edge of Eternity is the perfect illustration of what we want to do with Dear Villagers. Discover talented studios and help them bring ambitious projects to life. What Midgar has accomplished with a small team is quite incredible, and we are very proud to be by their side for this launch. This is very much a big JRPG type.
Yeah,
have you seen
if
this?
I'm not mistaken, it was inspired by Final Fantasy 15 and started by one person. And has since grown to a smaller ish team of.
It plays, yeah. It definitely it's more turn based, but yeah.
Yeah, but
oh, are you thinking of? You're not thinking of the other one, right?
Which one?
Lost Soul Aside.
Am I thinking of that one? Could be.
Because that one was one person, and then they expanded.
Let me look it up real.
And that's more directly the Final Fantasy 15. Inspired.
Yeah, I don't know if it's. Yeah, I think you're right. This would be the more traditional Final Fantasy inspired, and Lost Soul Aside is the Final Fantasy 15 one. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, this has like a bit of like grid-based combat. It actually kind of reminds me of Resonance of Fate a little bit, which is pretty funny given the title and Resonance of Fate's Japanese title, which is End of Eternity.
It looks decent for an indie RPG.
Yeah, it looks pretty good, I think. I previewed it back in 2018 at GDC, and I was like, "Oh wow, this is great." So I just wanted to highlight that real quick. Next we have so go get the alpha and look forward to that. Next story, No More Heroes 3 Series Digest Trailer, $1 Billion Trilogy Edition announced for Japan. Includes the full No More Heroes trilogy for 9,800 yen. This is once again by Saruman for Gamatsu. Publisher Marvelous and developer Grasshopper Manufacturer debuted a 7-minute Series Digest trailer for No More Heroes 3 during the No More Heroes 3 official live stream. No More Broadcasting 5.1 GHM, as well as announced the No More Heroes 3 $1 Billion Trilogy Edition for Japan. The No More Heroes 3 $1 Billion Trilogy Edition is priced at 9,800 yen, approximately $89 US, and includes a physical copy of No More Heroes 1+2 for Switch, a physical copy of No More Heroes 3 for Switch, and a special box with artwork by Yusuke Kozaki. It will launch day and date with the No More Heroes 3 Standard Edition in Japan. No More Heroes 3 is due out for Switch on August 27th worldwide, and we don't know if we're getting that version. But the box is like, it's like Travis and another character on like a fake bill. So it's $1 billion.
I mean, it is published by Nintendo, I think. So it could be that you
No, Marvelous. Published by Marvelous.
But it's kind of being.
Oh, it could still happen.
It's being treated kind of like a Nintendo title, with a.
Maybe Marvelous is only. I don't know. Maybe I don't know if Marvelous is only publishing it in Japan and Nintendo is publishing it here, or if Marvelous is just publishing it everywhere.
I guess we'll see once it releases. Yeah. Next up is Xbox will reportedly hold its next news event in the coming weeks. This is by Andy Robinson for Video Game Chronicle. ZDNet journalist Mary Jo Foley, or ZNet, if you will, claims that the game-focused virtual event will take place in the coming weeks to supplement Microsoft's annual Build conference, which is confirmed to take place in May. Since Build is a developer-focused event, it's likely any gaming showcase would be focused on the platform itself rather than games. But Foley notes that this is separate from the developer-focused Game Stack event, listed for April. Microsoft has adopted the strategy of holding smaller, more frequent news events so far in 2021. Last month, it held an extensive ID at Xbox showcase, and it's also announced an event dedicated to Age of Empires. In February, Xbox platform development boss teased exciting new features coming to the Series X and S this year, stating that what had been released so far for the console is just the beginning. So there's this, and there's E3, which Microsoft will also be joining as. Yeah, I know, but it's related.
Right.
It's interesting that they're willing to hold two conferences so close to each other. I wonder if this event will then be scrapped in favor of the E3 showcase. But we'll see.
Yeah, I wonder.
Next up is the Resident Evil showcase. Is set for April 2021. April 15th, 2021. That was a weird copy.
It says April 2021.
Okay, this is by Sal Romano for Gamatsu. Capcom will host the second Resident Evil showcase on April 15th at 3 p.m. Pacific time, which is also 6 p.m. Eastern Time, the company announced. You will be able to watch it on YouTube. The 20-minute broadcast will deliver the latest information on RE Village as well as other new things. RE Village is due out for PS5, Xbox Series S and X, PS4, Xbox One, PC via Steam, and Stadia on May 7th worldwide. It's notable that they keep hyping up this showcase, so please be excited. Don't be disappointed if RE4 Remake isn't announced, but please be excited nonetheless. Yeah,
they're probably just going to highlight the game since it's so close to release. Next up, PC Gaming Show 2021 and Future Game Show set for June 13th. The future showcases return during E3 2021. This is by Sal Romano for Gamatsu. PC Gamer will host the PC Gaming Show 2021 on June 13th, followed directly by another iteration of the Future Game Show, Future announced. Both shows will fall in the middle of E3 2021, which was recently confirmed to be taking place from June 12th to the 15th. Further details about each event were not announced. And last, before we get to our main topic, is Summer Game Fest
2021 set for June. This is by Sal Romano for Gamatsu. Summer Game Fest 2021 will take place in June and once again include the Day of the Devs Summer Game Fest edition. Organizer Jeff Keighley announced. The Day of the Devs Summer Game Fest edition, produced by Double Fine Productions and I Am 8-Bit, will spotlight a select group of upcoming independent and AAA video games curated by the Day of the Devs team and Jeff Keighley. It will feature new video game content, including world-exclusive news and gameplay, plus the video game musical performances. Developers interested in participating in the event can submit their games for application starting today via this form. Submissions close on April 9th. And the today they mentioned was April 2nd, so was that last Friday? Yeah. All right.
So our main topic is E3's first all-digital show announced.
Thoughts? Concerns?
So E3 20... Hold on. Let me E3 2021 plans announced. Xbox and Nintendo involved. No sign of Sony. This is Nintendo, Xbox, Capcom, Konami, Ubisoft, Take-Two, Warner Brothers, and Koch Media? Coke Media?
Let me look it up. Because everyone this week has been struggling with this name.
Because I didn't want to... Yeah, I didn't want to say the other thing.
Okay. Well, it's a German-Australian company, so Koch would be the correct pronunciation.
The ESA has announced its plans for the future digital-only E3, which will include Nintendo, Xbox, but currently does not include Sony, and takes place from June 12th to the 15th. Has all the people that I said earlier. Sony is this is by Joe Screbbles at IGN, by the way. Sony is conspicuous by its absence on the list, and we've contacted the company for comment. Other major missing companies include EA, which has recently preferred to host its own EA Play events during E3's timing, Square Enix, Sega, Bandai Namco, Tencent, 505, and Activision Blizzard. The ESA makes clear that the list of partners marks early commitments, so other publishers and developers could come on board at a later date. However, before the show's pandemic-related cancellation, Sony had confirmed that it had no plans to attend E3 2020. After announcing that the show would return as a digital-only event, the E3 website promises live press conferences and a 4-day-long video stream, and says the show will be a reimagined and hyper-engaged digital experience. Concrete details about the show remain thin on the ground, but ESA President Stanley Pierre-Louis used a press release to say, "We are evolving this year's E3 into a more inclusive event, but we'll still look to excite the fans with major reveals and insider opportunities that make this event the indispensable center stage for video games." I saw that there were going to be press days too or something.
I mean, it stands to reason that with E3 being a thing, that the press would also get access to things for their own coverage. Kind of helps spread out the news a bit, and probably
I'll see if
it's probably to have the main showcase be as streamlined as possible. And if you want to dip into more exclusive and expanded coverage, then you go to, let's say, IGN, GameSpot, or Siliconera.
Whoever.
Yeah.
So what's interesting is I found this VGC article. Nintendo and Xbox sign up for Digital E3 2021, but there's no mention of on-demand demos.
Yeah,
demos.
I think they're still trying to figure out how to facilitate all of that, because how do you prevent people from leaking it? How do you prevent hackers from looking in?
So here's the thing. But there's seemingly no mention of the on-demand game demos, which the ESA has pitched to game publishers as a tentpole feature of its digital event plans. As previously revealed by VGC, the ESA had told publishers it would partner with NVIDIA to power the demos using its GeForce Now platform, and allow E3 exhibitors to make their playable experiences available either to the general public or privately to press and business people via its app. People with knowledge of the ESA's negotiations told VGC that it had discussed putting access to the demos behind a paywall. The organization later released a statement claiming that no elements of E3 2021 would require payment. On Tuesday, VGC asked the ESA if its final E3 2021 plans would incorporate the game demos, and a spokesperson said, "We explored many possibilities with our partners, sponsors, and industry participants in the creation of E3 2021. This year, we are focused on delivering multiple days of amazing programming that showcases the video game industry, with a new online portal and supporting app that will include tons of features such as customizable profiles, on-demand content, gamification, real-time activity feeds, and more. We'll build off of the success of 2021 and continue to look into new ways of showcasing the industry in 2022. So, yeah, we'll see. I know game demos have been a thing for some people with the NVIDIA GeForce and stuff for coverage. Another interesting point is what is E3? How does E3 change at all for the typical consumer who just watches E3 usually? Anyway, I
don't think it changes much for the person that watches it from home. It's definitely going to be a change of pace for people who visit physically, because that's not on the table this year or anytime soon. I think,
although it was very empty last time.
I think the demos, the on-demand demos could help, but with every company having their own competing cloud platforms or technology, it might not go that easy with convincing them to partake in NVIDIA's GeForce Now streaming. Although, having that said, Nintendo works a lot with NVIDIA, so maybe they will be quicker to pulling the trigger on that. But I can also see Nintendo being very stingy with their IP and not facilitating that. So I don't know, man. It's a gamble. It's something you're gonna have to guess. But I don't know. I don't know. I can't even wrap my head around E3 coming back. So what do you think?
I mean, I love events. I want E3 to come back in full form. You know, once the that's just a little harder because it's a little harder to get the global pandemic under control than it is to get like it in control in one country. So I don't know if it'll be like, will 2022 be digital too? We'll see how. Like, I wonder how this will go for them.
For the ESA, it's a bit tricky because with it not being a physical event, they lose out on generating income.
Attendance and all that.
It being digital is also a lot easier for publishers and developers because they don't have to pay anyone else to do this. They can do it themselves, and they also don't have to share the spotlight with anyone. Having that said, E3 coming back is a good thing because it'll probably lead to a more focused coverage of new gaming content, previews and showcases, instead of having it being spread out over so many months. That was kind of tiring last year. It's interesting to see how it will clash or be complemented by Jeff Keighley's own Summer Games Fest being held during that time. So it's going to be a very interesting time this summer.
I think that's it. We once again have no listener questions, but that's because I forgot. But we don't get many anyway, so it's okay.
It's going to be a very interesting time. We've already seen some interesting moves on the road to E3, like Pac-Man 99 just being dropped recently. Who knows what else is coming?
And some people are actually, some people are pretty happy that stuff will be a little more condensed and not like last summer where it was just like there was something every other week.
For our friends in journalism, games media, that is, it's going to be probably a godsend because they have to. They're less spread out and less worn down by constantly being on top of things.
But I also heard the argument that like E3 is a little too condensed. Maybe they could like spread it out a little bit.
I wouldn't mind it being a week instead of just 3 days. Have the big like Nintendo and Microsoft each have their own days, and then like split up the remaining 3 to
have like break days in between, but they're still like obviously coverage.
Or maybe have the on-demand demos fill the gaps between the days. You could go so many ways with this. It's going to be interesting. It's definitely going to be interesting.
Yeah.
But it's something we'll probably revisit in the coming weeks. Rumor also has it that Nintendo is planning something big and
I saw that
revolutionary. So they say.
I didn't know if it was like I didn't know where that rumor came from.
I can point you to someone that has started that rumor, but I probably shouldn't say it on air, quote unquote. But the thing that's being said is that Nintendo is well, if you see the patch notes for the latest firmware upgrade, it's that the dock is getting some new features maybe. So it could set a course for like more complex docks featuring into the Switch's life cycle, like something that increases the horsepower or upscales the resolution to 4K checkerboarding or something like that. Kind of to give this Switch an extended lifespan and like an ability to compete with the newer consoles on the block. And a rumor also has it that Nintendo might be working on a home console only Switch. So that could also be a way of making sure that the power is good enough to compete with the big boys. And as I mentioned in a few shows earlier, that the online service is also heading for a revamp. That's also on top of the...
Oh, I thought it did have a revamp.
The underlying infrastructure did get a revamp. So that's why you have a smoother experience connecting with other players from Monster Hunter Rise. But it's going to be a much bigger revamp. And if I'm not mistaken, some streaming platforms are also coming to the Switch, which and when I cannot say. But it's shaping up to be a very big year for the Switch. So we'll cover that as the news comes in, and we'll keep you guys posted. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's it for this week. A little shorter. The news hasn't been like the biggest news story was the E3 thing really this week, for at least for us.
I think it's the calm before the storm.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
So I think the next week will probably be when the Tales of Arise news drops, because the social media channels for Bandai Namco are finished with highlighting the older games, and they did say spring would be about the time they reveal new info. So fingers crossed.
I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Well, thank you for listening
for a fall release. Maybe.
We will see you guys the next time.
And hopefully we'll have a guest.
Keep
or something.
safe. Wash your hands. Play video games.
Keep wearing a mask. Get vaccinated if you're able, and have the
good health for it.
Good health. Yeah, good health.
Be kind to each other and to yourselves, and we'll see you next.
Have empathy.
We'll see you next time. Bye.